This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike.
High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook. It's Revening's Wednesday. Welcome to Revening's Wednesday, Revenue Party people. We've got our hot topics and our hot guests, so we're going to hop right into it. But before we do, make sure that you are heading over to revening.com and subscribing to our newsletter. Because in case you missed this full show, we do a recap every week about our guests and what we talk about. And then also, like today, we give you an upcoming recap about the guests, telling you, just a little about them, what we're going to be talking about, but also some hot topics in marketing, like all these acquisitions and the AI world going on, what's going on there. So Clay, we've got Hockey Stack. I think I just heard this morning there's Aligned. So what are your thoughts on all of these acquisitions? Plug those into the comments. But today we're going to be talking about YouTube and experiences with some experts. So I want to get right into it. But of course, I want to make sure I have here. There it is. You'll see throughout the day here, an hour when we're talking. Revening.com. That's where you can subscribe to get on the newsletter. And we're doing a masterclass tomorrow. So this will take you to the workbook. But if you go to linkedin.revening.com/masterclass, you can subscribe and register for the free 1-hour masterclass where we'll be showing people how to go live on LinkedIn like we're doing now. And of course, this is just the recording. We take this, repurpose it into podcast, short form video, newsletter, and so much more using AI and of course humans, because you have to have both. But thanks to Cherry Assistant for supporting our show. Every year, since this has started, basically, we've been working with DJ Kim. He ended up having one business acquired that sponsored us. And now we're working with Cherry Assistant. And I couldn't be more excited because this is how I'm scaling my marketing agency, by delegating tasks to virtual assistant. That Cherry Assistant is helping me follow. But I just broke the Chinese New Year dragon. So I'll just show you now. My husband built this Lego thing. Happy Chinese New Year, everyone. It's a special day. It is also the new moon. Let's see what else we have. WinsDay. So it's a lucky day. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guests. But before I do, I got to plug High Level as well. So make sure you're seeing this throughout the day. I'm going to be training people on this in the masterclass. How to build landing pages, how to post across channels, how to automate your marketing, how to use AI. Go to High Level, get a 30-day free trial with my affiliate link. You can also just go to revening.com/high level if you are listening to this on podcast later on. But welcome to the show, Chris and Cathy. Couldn't be happier to have you here.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Of course. Happy lunch hour. Let's hop right into it with our Wednesday style introductions. And we would like to put a 2-minute clock up and ask your full life story. And of course, we can all go find you on LinkedIn. And I encourage all the listeners to go do that, follow, connect. Let's make this a meaningful conversation. Also, share your comments. Where are you logging in from? What do you do? This conversation is about the audience, but we want to know your full life story and the things we can't find on LinkedIn. So we'll start with you, Chris. Could you tell us your full life story from birth to what brought you to now in 2 minutes?
All right, here we go. 2 minutes. This is tough. I was actually born in Florida. I grew up in a family that, very religious family actually, and didn't really know what direction I was going in life. And randomly, I got plugged in the hospitality industry. And this was a little bit later on. I didn't really grow up in restaurants and hotels. I got tagged into the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, my first job in hospitality. And that really was the turning point, I think, for me, from what my future was going to become. And literally, kind of took that experience with Ritz Carlton and worked my tail off and parlayed it into launching Ellis Adams Group. And it's been 15 years now of us doing this. And it's one of those, you start as one thing as an entrepreneur and what you think your company's going to be. And now 15 years later, we've continued to evolve and grow and change drastically. And to start as one single guy that had an idea and a dream and a vision, and now turn it into something that we have a global brand that's working, across a multitude of countries. I couldn't be more grateful for what we get to do and what we've been able to accomplish. And so that's kind of the snapshot of born and raised in Florida, started with Ritz Carlton, and then it kind of parlayed that into what we get to do now. And so it's been an exciting ride, and looking forward to what's next. And look at that, it was a minute and a half. I shaved off
Yeah.
seconds.
Wow.
And that's how you've succeeded. You've gotten that pitch down, in 30 seconds or whatever the sales coaches want us to do. But yeah, no, you've got a lot of experience with experience, be it in the luxury, world, but then also just your experience of creating a business and all of the hard, failures that we all know it takes to like actually build a business and continuing to do it for 15 years. So we're looking forward to hearing about your expertise on some of your topics today. And Cathy, we want to hear your full life story as well. So same Wednesday style, I'm going to put up 2 minutes on the clock. Could you tell us, where were you born and what brought you to now?
Okay, I was born in Utah, moved to Boise, Idaho when I was 4 years old and have grown up here. I live probably within half a mile of where I grew up. So my kids go to the same school I went to and all of that fun stuff. I just always wanted to be a mom. I guess originally I wanted to be a grade school teacher, but then I was like, you know what? I just love being a mom. I have 8 kids in 18 years. But way back in 2000, what was that? 2008. I just started blogging. That was kind of before all the moms got into Facebook. And so we all had our little blogs, and blogging led me to figuring out how to save money. And so I started couponing, started saving up money there, and then sharing. Anyway, long story short, husband lost his job. I found out I was expecting, sorry, the trash is picking up right now. I was expecting baby number 7. And he lost his job that same week. That was, 2009 at this point. And anyway, I started a blog, or I had the blog and turned it into a way to make money and provide for my family. And then here I am. Oh, golly, it's been, so whatever the math is there, almost 16, 17 years. I got into YouTube. I had a friend that I met in 2019, and she was like, you got to get on YouTube, because my website had food, and because we taught people how to use their money savings and get food. Anyway, jumped into YouTube in 2020 is when I started actually putting content out there, and it completely changed the trajectory of my business. And now we have products and a lot of opportunity with the audience, and it's a ton of fun. Anyway, accidental entrepreneur, that's me.
Wow, that is an incredible story. I love that story. And wow, 8 kids. I have 2 kids, and so, hats off to you. I don't know how you do it, but I will say I do love being a marketer myself because it does allow us to be at home. And if we do need to get away for those sick days or whatever, it's just so much easier. But interesting. I mean, you look like a teacher. So when you say like you thought you were going to be a teacher, it's like, I can totally see that. But you know what? These days, people who wanted to be a teacher become YouTubers.
Right.
So let's talk about experience, y'all. Again, if you're tuning in, coming in late, let us know who you are. What industry are you coming in at? We're going to start talking about some topics, starting with YouTube strategy, actually. And it's topic number 1. And before we talk about it, I'm curious, Chris, what's your experience with YouTube?
Look, I think the one thing you both know way better than I is that the evolution for me over the past 15 years of a business of going from traditional marketing to being forced to understand social media and how that works. I'll be honest with you, I'm not personally good at it, but I am very well versed in it. I have a team that is unbelievable at it, and we put a lot of focus on it because it's shifted and changed so
You
much in
have
the past
to.
15 years of how you have to operate your business. And we've actually changed a new strategy that we have over the past 6 months of how we're kind of changing what our programming looks like and taking advantage of things like YouTube, Instagram Live, like you're doing. And so, I mean, I will sit back and take notes from the two of you of what's
Sounds
about to
good.
be
Yeah.
said. I
I
do have to
like
say,
to get a
Kathy, like
radar of like, what's your
the 8 kid
experience
thing
level?
is unbelievable. Like I need to
Yeah.
learn from you on how you do this and how efficient you are to
Oh,
operate your
thank you.
business with 8. I have 2, and they're older now, but congratulations, unbelievable inspiration. Like, wow.
Oh, you're talking about the kids. I'm sorry. I think we have a lag a little bit. But at first I thought you were talking about going live, and then I thought you're talking about going to the kids. So I was like, thank you. But you're not 2 is nothing because I have 2. 8 is absolute. I echo that too. It is really incredible, Kathy. And we have to both pass it over to you because of course, like you're the goat here with 8 kids, but also YouTube. You started in 2019. You knew it was important before most businesses know it's important. And you hear Chris now, you know, it's important to them now. They have to think about it. We all have to think about it. So what do we need to know about it?
Well, yeah, YouTube makes sense just because it's, part of Google, the largest search engine ever. And search is a great way to get started on YouTube, being aware of what people are searching for, things like that. But the bigger strategy is just, well, a few different things. We've got to just start. And if you go back and watch some of my old videos, so just a little context is I started doing food on YouTube, and my friend that told me to do it, I was like, okay, can I hire you to coach me? Because I didn't know what I was doing. And I wanted to be, by this time in business, I just knew having the right people just train me and tell me exactly what to do is the shortcut. So she started coaching me early 2020, and then all the pandemic happened, and so we all had to kind of adjust there. So it wasn't until June 2020 is when I actually started uploading videos. And the thing with YouTube is that you have to teach the algorithm what you're about. So I actually had, from my other business, I had some old videos like from 2012, 2013 that had reviews, and I don't think we were making money, but they were completely irrelevant. So one of the first things I did was just go unlist all of those videos that had nothing to do with my focus on YouTube now, which was recipes, was my big umbrella topic. And then under that, I did Instant Pot, slow cooker, air fryer, copycat recipes, and something else. Oh, freezer meals. And so every upload, I was uploading twice a week, and I just alternated between those topics. And when you do one air fryer, right, you could mention the last air fryer video you did and kind of build this little string of topics. So YouTube started to figure out what I was talking about. And after a few months, it was my air fryer videos. That's what lifted. So I went a little bit broad, and then air fryer is what was pushing out. And there was kind of a gap there in content. back in 2020. There was content, but it wasn't great content. So I went all in on air fryer. I think it was October 2020. And by December, beginning of December, I had 2,500 subscribers ish. No, I think it was 5,000. And then by the end of December 2020, I was up to 10,000 subscribers. And by early March, I hit 100,000. So once I taught the algorithm what I was about, then YouTube was like, oh, we know exactly who to send this to, because YouTube knows its audience. And so once you teach the algorithm, it will go and find people for you. And it continues to do that now. Here we are, 4.5 years later, and I still get new subscribers in. It's fun to just help people, and YouTube is an awesome way to connect with audience. I can tell you the first about first year, I used just my phone and a phone, tripod, and I sat here and made food in my kitchen. And the first videos are terrible. They're absolutely terrible, but you just got to start doing. The faster you do it, I was doing 2 uploads a week, the more you start to learn about your mistakes. You figure out what's working, what's not working, and you get better. But you only get better by doing. So you can go watch my old videos. They're really silly out there for sure.
That's incredible. And that is some amazing SEO that you've done. So basically you just like went out and ruled the market on YouTube. And that's a great example of just like taking air fryer and having like, you can have air fryer chicken, air fryer steak, air fryer this, air fryer that.
All of it,
And
yeah.
all the long form keywords. I mean, it's just a beautiful way to like build your reputation on it. And so bravo, you did that. And that's what businesses are trying to do now. It's getting harder and harder because more and more people are doing it. So, would you suggest that people do more long tail keywords as they're trying to build on YouTube these days? Or like, if you didn't start in 2019 and you're getting started now, like what's the secret?
The secret's actually creating content that people want to share. So I'll just give you a quick story. I was so focused on keywords in the beginning, but in December 2020, I had this idea of doing a video, like 12, I can't remember the title, top 12 air fryer mistakes. And I was like, well, nobody, I went to the tools. I was like, nobody's searching air fryer mistakes, but it's a catchy title. It creates tension in the brain. People wanted to click. So I just went with my gut and posted the video. And that's the video that skyrocketed me. And it has, I don't know how many millions of views now. But that one has brought in hundreds of thousands of subscribers and made a ton of money. And
I love that. Funny thing.
Always just keywords is my point.
Yeah, it's not always just keywords. That's a good point. Yeah, we're humans, and humans are imperfect, and we make mistakes. And when we show those mistakes and we're vulnerable or talk about them, we connect with people. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing. And so like now that you've heard her take on all of that, Chris, I'm sort of curious on your takeaway on all of it.
I need to change everything I'm doing. It makes complete sense. I mean, listening to you talk and the approach that you took and how you got from starting something to now really understanding the process behind it. I mean, it makes complete sense. And I mean, literally taking notes and hoping my team's watching of saying, hey, we need to kind of maybe shift the focus. And I think the word focus is probably the most important word in that. It says making sure we have a very streamlined, detailed focus of what we're going after and what our messaging is. So that way that the algorithm can figure out exactly who we are versus these, I think, a broad stroke. We're going to touch on all these things. It's great. I think once you have a massive platform, you can probably do that because you already have the fan base. But to get there, you really need to dial in, hearing what you said. And I think that's probably some of the best advice I've ever gotten in the past 3 minutes.
Just really niche in, like, I'm sitting here trying to think, what would your like primary keyword, if her keyword was air fryers, what would yours be? And what would all the long tailed ones be around that? But until then, we'll just keep brainstorming because there's so much we could all be doing. But I want to kind of shift the conversation to experience a little bit. So part of the reason that strategy works is because it makes the experience easy for viewers or someone like me. I mean, I've been doing AI recipes, so like using ChatGPT to like be like, hey, I need a soup that's like my mother-in-law's Polish grandmother soup my kids love, but can you make it vegan with barley and quinoa? And it like comes up with stuff, right? So then I go cook it. So interesting, but I digress. That's kind of like another thing where I need to niche a little better and not go off topic because that's a little off topic for me. But I do love talking about AI and just trying to use it in different ways. But it's all about the experience we're creating now because it is getting harder and harder to resonate with people. And YouTube is great, but the one thing it doesn't have is that in-person experience. We're seeing more events in marketing. We're seeing businesses get together and they want a luxury experience, because on social media, especially you want a social media-able experience where you can take pictures and definitely, you get that at a place like Ritz-Carlton, which I know you have a history at. But now with your current business, could you talk to us, not necessarily with what you're doing about with your business, but just in general, the art of selling the experience? Because that's kind of what goes into all of it and how luxury hotels create irresistible offers and also like how businesses should be paying attention.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is the misconception of what luxury is. And when I probably get that question asked more than anything else is, what is luxury? What is luxury? And immediately people assume luxury has to do with a price point. And we immediately identify brands when we say luxury, right? And I think if I were to ask both of you right now, like, rattle off some brands that you would consider luxury brands, and most people will go directly to whether it's, the Pradas of the world or Gucci or Tom Ford or whatever it might be. And you're not wrong in that. But what we always try to talk about is the fact that luxury is one word and one word only. Luxury is a feeling. And your ability to create a feeling with a consumer determines whether or not they believe it's luxury. And a lot of times I'll use the analogy of a story of if you've lived in a small town and you've never left that town, it's the stories of the town with 200 people and one red light. And you've never seen the big city. You've never seen these massive construction and buildings and hotels. And out of nowhere, you see this huge construction thing happening in your small town, and you're watching this for the course of 2 years build this monstrosity of a building, and it's just mind blowing because you've never experienced this before. And next thing you know, it's going to be a Target. And leading up to it, you're watching this happen, and then for opening day, your whole town is excited about this, and everyone's in line, ready to go experience this new thing that you've never seen before. And there's a band playing, there's balloons, there's a whole 9 yards, and next thing you know, you walk into this store that's bigger than anything you've ever been in before, and the bright lights, and it's perfectly laid out, and you've got the person in their neatly pressed khakis and red shirt with their name tag, and they say, "Welcome to Target. So happy to see you." That moment that you just had, the feeling that you had, that's luxury for you. And I think making sure that you, one, understand what luxury is and your ability to create a feeling with your consumer that's the question we have to ask ourselves with anything we do, whether we're talking about hotels, restaurants, bars, is whatever choices and decisions that we're making, whether it's the arrival experience, what it smells like in our hotels, the check-in experience, going into a bar, how does it make our consumer feel? Because if I can attach how it makes them feel, it connects to their emotions, and emotions dictate our behavior. And it's just a snowball effect that happens that then starts to determine how much money they're spending, how much they want to come back, how much they're talking about it to other people. And so for us, everything we do we have to ask the question, how does it make them feel? And a lot of times when you ask yourself that question in the process, it really helps you dial in. Are you making the right decision? Does it look good on paper? Does it make sense on a vision board of what we're creating for a client? But when you start asking that question, yeah, but how does it make them feel when they get out of their car, when they're driving to your hotel for the first time? That journey, what is that journey like, right? And you sit back and you go, well, Chris, it's how does the journey have to do with me at the hotel? Well, if I'm going to your hotel and I've just arrived at the airport and my flight was delayed, I almost didn't make my flight. I had to run through the airport. I got booted into a middle seat. I finally get from the airport to get a rental car or jump into an Uber to get to your property. and it's hard to get there, and there's 6 U-turns and the roads are damaged. Before I ever greet the first person that works at your property, I don't like you. I'm frustrated, I'm aggravated with things that you might not have control over, but it's important for me to understand that, because I start to understand how you're feeling. And if I can counteract that upon that arrival experience of maybe going above and beyond to level set you, it starts helping the rest of your guest experience along the way. And that's a lot of the stuff that we do is really trying to figure out that guest journey and constructing that experience to make sure that the feeling that you get as a consumer is the one that you believe is attached to the value that you're getting, right? So when we talk about price point and luxury, yes, normally in most circumstances, especially if we're talking about brands like Ritz-Carlton, it's probably going to be a more expensive hotel room than a brand that doesn't consider themselves luxury. Most of our guests tell us now they don't care the price point as long as it's equivalent to the experience. I don't mind paying $27, let's say, for a martini, as long as it's a $27 experience attached to the martini. And so as we start looking at everything that we're constructing and we say, okay, our daily rate at this hotel might be $500, $600, $700, $1,000 a night, we have to make sure that the feeling that we're giving our guest from start until finish is equivalent to the price point that we believe that we can charge. And the guest goes, man, at $1,000 a night, I still felt that there was value because the experience exceeded the $1,000 expectation. And that's really the map that we use from start to finish in doing this.
Wow, I love that. If more marketers would think that way, I think marketing would be a better experience. What's your take on his take on experience or in luxury too, Cathy?
I just love that definition of luxury as a feeling, because I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, that's so true. And like every time, like just even going, my husband and I had our anniversary and just went to a local hotel, but it was like boutique hotel, and it was so much fun. You know, it was a little higher, upper level, and it was an experience. And you just like from the smell of when we walked in to just all the little touches. Anyway, I'm so grateful for the people that thought of all these cool things, because it was an experience. It was just so much fun. And then I'm just thinking about, yeah, how does that relate to what I do in how I
Yeah,
people?
totally. So I have a women's community. There's about 150 of us in a WhatsApp group, which would love to have you, Cathy. We're like women in business, women in sales, marketing, whatever. It's just a free WhatsApp group. But last year we had a retreat. So it makes me think of the Women Wave, like the 2025 retreat. We're thinking like right now we have a poll in there. Do we want to go to Georgia? Do we want to go around Chicago? You know, it's going to be in October. So like, what is that experience, you know, and even in the planning mode and like kind of including them in some of the decisions of what we'll have in it. Like, how can I create a better luxury experience so they feel like they get what they pay for? But man, such a beautiful way to think about it. I mean, what was it that Dean just said there? The customer experience begins before and after the event. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. Anything you'd say more on that to sort of wrap us up on this topic, Chris?
Honestly, I would say from a business perspective, that same mantra that we're talking about of luxury creates a feeling, it's really what we've implemented at our company that says, how do we make our guests feel, right? And when we talk about guests, most of us think about the guests that are checking into a hotel or whatever. If you're selling a product, you're a consumer, right? When we talk about guests, a lot of times we talk about internal and external guests. External guests are the guests that are purchasing your product, checking into your spaces. Internal guests are our team members. It's those that we interact with on a day in and day out basis. Are we making sure that we're creating that same luxury environment? And again, I'm not talking about luxury of spending money. I'm talking about the feeling. Are we creating that same feeling for our internal guest? Do they feel something special about working for EAG? Are they making sure that our guests, our clients, the people that we interact with on a day in and day out basis, the phone calls that we have to take, whatever, the emails that we're having to transcribe, are we ensuring that we are giving a feeling, a luxury experience to everyone we come in contact with? And when you start internally, it makes it a lot easier to ensure that externally your consumer, your guest are getting the experience you want from your team members because it's part of the culture of what you've created.
Oh, I love that so much. Luxury is a feeling, everyone. It's not just an in-person event or the money. And it starts inward with your own team. So great. And we have two more hot topics that we're going to get to before the hour is up. But we will do that right after this message from Cherry Assistant.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
So this is a menu of some of the services you can get from Cherry Assistant. They help with a lot of things, not just what they help me with, which you can see. They do a lot of Canva work for me with the intro video we have on the show and outro video and promotional stuff, different posts, stuff that we do for clients. But it's been a really great experience working with Cherry Assistant, and I couldn't do all of this without them. So big thanks to Cherry Assistant. And also want to tell you a little bit about High Level. I know I do every weekend. Also tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time, go to linkedin.reveting.com/masterclass. I'll be giving you a little bit of an introduction and helping you get started with High Level. But really, it's about you building your audience, diversifying your social channels. I mean, we saw with TikTok going down that it's important that we're not just investing everything into one social channel. So I would like to encourage everyone to, if LinkedIn is your main channel, maybe think about YouTube a little bit. Or if YouTube is your main channel, maybe start thinking about Instagram. Find out where your audience is. That's really the main thing. But it doesn't have to be this huge effort. With High Level, you can schedule your posts across channels really easily, and it helps you with your team to be able to, if you have multiple people working on one post, the message and the video, everyone can be involved. So definitely check out High Level. You can go to reveting.com/high level to get a 30-day extended free trial with my affiliate link. But I would love to help you with that. But big thanks to High Level as well. But let's get back into these hot topics, Chris and Cathy. I'm going to go right into it. Digital marketing, very broad, but digital marketing is changing every day. And AI has really changed the game. But I'm curious, Cathy, I mean, you've built a successful business on all of this. And if you were to kind of take digital marketing into one topic in 5 minutes, the most important thing that people in sales, marketing, and business ownership need to take away for 2025, what would you say that is?
Your email list.
Yes, own your data. Yeah.
That is where our bread and butter always is, because it's so annoying to mess with algorithms or platforms being taken down. I felt so bad for everybody that was relying on TikTok. But that email list is where I can nurture my people. It started with a free opt-in on YouTube, and I just found this gap, and I was like, oh, I could just make this. It's a temperature guide chart, and I give it out for free, and I've gotten thousands and thousands and thousands of emails from it. And then I email them every week with new recipes. I link to my channel, talk about, it's another place to engage with me and get a little bit behind the scenes. My kids are in the videos. They taste test the food. They're brutal taste testers. Anyway, but so they know my family. It's building this relationship of know, like, and trust, right? Super easy to do on YouTube. And then I get enhance it with my newsletters. And then as we're releasing products, our newsletter is just awesome. That email list, that's where we get the most revenue, the biggest bang for the buck is the email list. And I can market anything. And it's also been an awesome place to test. We've been testing, getting ready to launch another cookbook. And we're like, oh, we're going to dial it in and narrow our focus. So before that, we created, I think we've got like 15 different, what we call digital booklets. They're just small samplings of different topics. And so based on those sales, we know what one of those, which topic is going to be our big printout cookbook, our next one that we will market to our existing customers, market to my email list, and then of course YouTube channel and Instagram. But the email list is, I love having that data. There's so much you can do with it. It's so fun.
So important, such an important topic. And that's one of the things that we're going to be going over in my masterclass too is, with high level, yeah, it helps you with helps you schedule posts basically across channels. That's one part of it. But building your email list, you can send your newsletter from it. It's basically a full marketing automation platform and CRM, but owning your data, no matter what platform you're using, is so important. Like, there's so many different CRMs you can use. And even if you're not at that place to get a CRM yet, like use an Excel sheet. Just start keeping track of the people that you're reaching out to, that you're talking to, but get that opt-in consent. And that's where the forms, like a landing page that you can build so that you can, legally start sending them marketing related messages consistently. But would love to hear from people in the comments. Have you started a newsletter page? Are you texting your customers? Are you sending WhatsApp? What kind of outreach are you doing? Chris, curious from you, what kind of marketing do you all do?
Honestly, on our side, it's 100% relationship driven. I can tell you from the start of my company to now, my first client that I ever had when it was me by myself was because of a relationship. Somebody knew me that worked with me at Ritz-Carlton that's like, hey, can you help? And that was the start of what became what we have now. And 99.9% of every client that we have and every project that we do is because of a relationship. And so it's one thing that we press hard on with our team of making sure that we value relationships. We work in an industry that is it's huge, it's global, yet it's very small circles. Never burn a bridge, regardless of how you feel internally, because those relationships at some point will come full circle. And so, I couldn't agree more of making sure that we're nurturing those relationships, whether it's through WhatsApp, emails, whatever it might be, but it's a huge piece of what we do.
Definitely. Well, thanks for sharing that. And by the way, Chris, we had a comment here about luxury from Miguel. He said, in most cases, the luxury feeling can be achieved without any or very little additional expense. It's how you train your staff and what their goals are. So I think that's somewhat related to what you're saying. But folks, keep your questions coming because these are really great topics. But Cathy, anything else on digital marketing that you might want to share before we wrap up this topic?
Well, I think the other super fun thing that I've been geeking out about on the email is just how you really can segment and narrow down. So I kind of launched a slightly different product in the last month or two, and I've been able to, in my emails, I've had different links for education, and I've really narrowed down who's clicking on the links. And then those are the ones that are really interested, and I just need to give them a little bit more education to get them to buy. It was a larger price point and a little bit more of a risk for them, something new and different. Anyway, just having that data to see who's actually interested in what do I need to do just to craft a message that will help convert them. And anyway, YouTube's awesome, but I don't exactly see what happens on the other end. But my email, I can see what are people doing and what's resonating.
You don't own YouTube, and YouTube at any moment could be like, boom, Cathy, you're out of here. We mark you as like, you are a spammer. Like it happens, I feel like a lot on TikTok. You see people just like disappearing all the time. I know that people have been kicked off LinkedIn, so like you're not guaranteed, you do not own these platforms. So these are, you're a guest here, and it's important that while you're here, people you're building relationships with, sharing that data. I think that's the most important point in marketing. Thank you so much for saying that, Cathy. I agree with you 100%, whether you're talking about air fryers on YouTube or you're selling data. I mean, I'm a fractional CMO at a data exchange provider, and it's the same thing, like the same exact thing. But I digress. We have one more topic I want to make sure we get to, which is leading with vision. So inspiring teams to achieve extraordinary results. So a lot of this. Um, who was it that said earlier? Like, was it? I think it was you, Cathy, that you learned early on that like if you just let other people who are experts teach you, you're going to go so much faster. It's so true. Let people do what they do. Chris, could you kick us off on this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we talk about leading with vision, and as you're building a team, there's certain things that you need to make sure that you're doing. And one, I believe as a leader, it is my job every day to wake up and to see in my team what they don't even see in themselves. It's my job to look past the junk, to look past what they potentially have done up to this point, and to pull out of them what they didn't even realize they were capable of. That's part of my job. It's my job to get up every day and clear the path to allow them to be great. It's to give them the tools to be successful. And when you talk about how do we get our team members to perform at a high level, to do the extraordinary, I think is what the title was. I think first you need to really dig into your team and know your team. And when I bring people on to EAG, I need to know. I ask questions of what are your hobbies? What and the ridiculous question of what do you want to do in 5 and 10 years? And I stop and I say, don't answer that because I want you to really think about when 5 years ago before you met me, what's your dreams? What dreams do you have? Because the reality is I'm bringing people onto a team to help me achieve my dreams. And I want to make sure that as a leader that I have an understanding of what their dreams and passions are because it's my job to help them get there. That's okay if at some point they're not part of EAG, but what are they doing during the time that they're with me to help get them where they want to be? And the reason that's important for me is because I know that if I can tap into what they're passionate about, their their level of work, how they perform, their passion behind what they do goes to the next level because they know that I'm not just in it for me, I'm in it for you. I want you to be the absolute best version of you can possibly be. And I'm going to do everything in my power to help you get there. And if that means at some point I'm helping you build a brand that you're going to launch, then that's awesome. That's what leadership is. There is a mantle of leadership that is heavy, and it is not always beautiful, and it is not many times it is not fun. The responsibility that sits on top of you when you're going through this process, I believe, if you're doing it the right way. I believe Simon Sinek said, I was watching one of his videos, and he said, when you ask most CEOs what's the most important thing in your business, and immediately like, we're my customer. And he's like, but the reality is very few CEOs actually ever talk to their customers. We have levels of people that are the frontline people that are actually out there performing, which means that how I take care of my team to ensure that they are doing what we need them to do at a high level in front of our guest and our customer is really what's going to have the biggest impact. And so from a leadership perspective, I believe the term culture is thrown around so much nowadays of, company culture. And what does that actually mean? And I think for most people, when you launch a company, and I would guess maybe both of you, when you decided I'm going to go this route and literally form a company, where most people are very good at pulling out, sitting at a bar when you've come up with this amazing idea and you write down on the napkin, this is my mission statement and this is what we believe and these are the 3 pillars we're going to focus on. We're great at the creation of culture, right? That's creating what you believe you are, the foundation of who you are. Where we struggle is the cultivation of culture, which says 6 months after you've sold the dream to somebody that's starting at your company and you have your mission statement posted on the wall and they're sitting there like, oh my God, yes, I want that. I believe that. 6 months later, can they look at you and say, everything that I believed on day 1 is what we live as an organization on day 60? And that's where we typically struggle. Is it part of the DNA of how your company is made up, the things that you say you believe, or does it look really good on paper of something that we've constructed to sell the dream to somebody that's coming in? For most individuals that work at organizations, we hire them on day 1. And I have to imagine when you hire them, you believe you are hiring the absolute best. Oh my God, I found them. This is going to be a game changer for us. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't bring them on. So what happens a year later or 18 months later when they're no longer performing at that level and you go, man, we need to get rid of this individual? Did they wake up one day and say, I no longer want to be great? Did they wake up one day and say, you know, I told them that on day one, that's not who I am. I'm doing everything in my power to screw over this company. That's not how most people think, which means we have to take a step back and say, what happened along the way that they no longer felt they had to be the person that they said they were, that we believed who they were a year later? And 9 times out of 10, we can look back and say, we stopped being the company we told them we were, so they said they don't have to be the person that they told us they were. And that's where you start to find the disconnect of people that aren't performing at a high level. They're not happy. They don't have passion behind what they're doing. They're just coming in and getting a paycheck, and they're not really adding a ton of value to your organization. Stop and say, what does our culture look like? Are we living it day in and day out? And are we really doing the things from a leadership perspective to set them up for success, to help make them the person that we believe that they can become? And those are some of the things that we try to do on our side.
Oh, yeah. That is so important. And I love all the thought that you put into that and how you explained all of it. But at the end of the day, is really just like kind of putting yourself in their shoes. And what would you
Empathy.
want? Yeah. And just being human. But building a team is where a lot of businesses tend to fail because, it gets complex to work with humans. It's easy to write things on a napkin and say, this is what I'm going to do. But then when we want to go out and build it, it's, different when you bring in different personalities. But man, such a really great point. I don't know, anything else you would add on that, Cathy?
Oh, I was just thinking that one day maybe I'd quit and go work for Chris.
I think it's the other way around, but thank you.
I don't know. It's so good to have people like that and companies like that, and what a blessing it is to the people that get to work and feel encouraged and inspired by the people they work with and for. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And of course, it's going to help business as well.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap up here soon, I want to make sure that we get to an important segment on WinsDay that we have done every week. And I'll just go ahead and do it. It's the Guru of the Week. Ooh. All right. So what the Guru of the Week is the Guru of the Week is someone that both of you think you would inspire all of us. So like we're sitting here learning from you, but who inspires you? Who would you tell us that you think we should go follow on LinkedIn or YouTube or any of the channels? And we'll tag them in the comments. But I'm going to do a drum roll. I'm going to pull myself out of the screen. If the two of you could just feed off each other and tell us about your Guru of the Week.
Okay. Well, mine's Andrea. Oh, there she is. There, yeah. Andrea Sorensen is my guru. She's actually lives here locally about a half mile away from me, but she is a powerful woman with a powerful voice. And she's so smart, so smart. Years ago, we hired her when we were very first starting, just as a mom who didn't know anything, right? I needed help. I didn't know how businesses worked, and she helped us. We had train wrecks with our team, and this was like 10 years ago. Andrea came in and just helped us figure out how to work with our team and elevate people and create systems and have better communication. Anyway, Andrea is just like a rock star in the business world, and I love seeing powerful women who are just kind, wonderful humans as well.
I love that. And I love the fact that both of us, I think, in choosing our guru, went internal with teams that we work with versus going external to someone that inspires us. So Zaylin Jacobson on our side, Zaylin he oversees the technology side of not just EAG, but a multitude of companies as well. And as we've kind of dug into technology and added that pillar as the third pillar of our company and understanding AI and investing financially into it, his vision and understanding of how this world is going to work and how he takes the processes and things that we've been doing day in and day out from day one and turns it into this what's the next iteration of is just the way his brain works, him and his team, is unbelievable to me. And I'm in awe every time I'm sitting in these meetings of trying to explain what the outcome I'm trying to achieve. And then they start breaking down exactly how it works on the tech side. I'm like, you guys they're geniuses. And they do it in such a way that they're highly engaged with every aspect of our business, not just the technology side. So they understand the operations piece and the design side of our company, and they're digging in to see how can we make sure we're at the forefront of what's next. And the way they do that, of being humble to understand an area of the business that they don't, and then adapting it and converting it to what's the next iteration of, is just, I mean, I sit back in awe every day of what they of what they do.
That's so cool. So fun to have different people and different strengths working together.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about more, is that if you want to hire a great team, hire people that are amazing. Don't let our own insecurities try to find people that we feel are maybe not as strong as us in certain areas to make us feel better about ourselves. Be okay with hire greatness. Make them, my team is way better than I am. They make me better every single day because I want to hire 10s. I don't want to hire 7s. I want to hire people that are absolute rock stars in everything they do, to push me and make me better. And I think that's something, I think both people from Andrea and Zaylin here are people that are unbelievable at what they do, and you're hiring above the bar.
That's amazing. And both of you are amazing for choosing people on your team. Like, bravo. Congratulations to you. I know there's people watching now, people who are going to be watching later. Like, man, I wish I could work for them, because I don't know if we've had both guests before, like choose people on their own team, but just with the message from today and with both of you doing that, it's just really inspiring. Thank you both for your leadership. I really honor both of you for showing up, not only as like, I don't know, modern brands, but also just like as good humans.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Well, before we go, I'm going to make sure that we get a little time to get a plug from you. So we want to hear from you. Like, how can our guests, if they feel like, well, first of all, if they can work with you, who do you work with? What problems do you solve? So that's what we want to know. We want to know who's your audience. How do you help them? And if they could be helped by you, how could they reach out to you? We'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think typically people look at us as being in the hospitality space and working with a lot of luxury brands, which we do on a regular basis. We also work in the design side, and honestly, we look for any opportunity we can to have an impact on someone's life. And whatever we can do in someone's journey, there's plenty of times where people will reach out and say, hey, out of curiosity, I'm looking at potentially a new job, or I'm trying to figure out what to do next, and I'd love to just pick someone's brain. We do everything we can to set aside time to make sure that we're investing in others. And so anything that we can do to help people in their journey, whether it's a new business owner or somebody that's trying to pivot within their business and the direction they're going, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can as a company to give back in whatever shape or form that looks like. And so whether that's going to our website, ellisadamsgroup.com, following us we're very active on social media, Instagram specifically, TikTok and whatnot, and through Ellis Adams, or myself, Chris Adams @official. We want to do anything we can to assist and be a part of anybody and everybody's journey, wherever we can help them.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And how about you, Cathy?
Well, I'm a little different because I don't really, I just serve people that have an air fryer. So
that's me.
I love to come on to these types of things and talk shop. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so if you have an air fryer collecting dust, or if you're stuck in the world of French fries and chicken nuggets, and that's all you do, come over to empoweredcooks.com. That'll take you to my online shop where I sell cookbooks and different products to enhance your air fryer life. And then you can also go to my YouTube channel and watch all the videos over there. So yeah, just having fun in the kitchen.
So incredible. You've taken such an just mom thing. I don't know, like cooking with the air fryer. I guess my husband cooks with the air fryer all the time, so I shouldn't say it's a mom thing. But just like such a basic like family thing, and marketed it so beautifully to create a life for yourself. So that is so awesome. Thank you for sharing all your marketing tips and tricks with us. And also, thanks for both of you just taking the time to come out and hang out with the WinsDay audience. Really appreciate you being here. And before we go, audience, I just want to make sure that you all know that next week we are bringing on Blake Harris and John Rich. Will be here, same time, same place, February 5th at 12 o'clock noon. We hope you can be here. And if you haven't lately, go over to Spotify or your favorite podcast app and check out WinsDay. We're adding new episodes there. We're updating things. So you can binge us over there. But yeah, until next week, I hope you all have a great week. Bye-bye.